Yo, what up, world? 502 King Paul coming to y'all with another video, man. So, this morning I'm on Facebook, right? And I'm looking at this video that's put up, and it's this man talking about what is wrong with today's women and why they're not getting the things that they want out of men and why they're getting bums and this and that. So, I go down to the comments on that video, and it's pure chaos, pure chaos. I see men, women arguing back and forth, and a lot of the comments go something like this. Women say, well, you know, I had a guy like this and he did me wrong. I did everything I was supposed to do and this man did me wrong. And, you know, I'm just sick of men. And you had men fighting against them, going vice versa on the other end of it, saying, you know, I tried to do right by women. I tried to do this, and that. And I just got done wrong at the end of the day. And they were just going back and forth, blow for blow, blow for blow. I mean, this was so ugly, and it just went on and on and on and on. And I was reading the comments, and it got to the point, man, I was like, I'm so just disgusted with where we are in today's world as men and women. And one word that kept on coming to mind over and over and over and over again was resentment. Resentment. So much resentment. Resentment is the main reason why we cannot have successful relationships in today's world. Why we cannot get the love that we so desperately are seeking and want to be a part of. We can't get that love because we're holding on to so much resentment. There are a lot of relationships that will never go good because from the jump, both people or one is coming into the relationship holding on to resentment from something that's happened in a previous relationship. You're putting all this stress on this woman who you just now are meeting, putting all this distrust, all these just bad emotions into this new woman who you hardly know from a can of paint because of your previous experience in your relationships, in your horrible relationships. Vice versa, you got a lot of women who come in and their expectations are this small, this low because every relationship that they've had in life prior to that point was a horrible relationship, or they may have just had one really bad relationship and they're holding on to that resentment and making the next man pay for what it is that the last man did. There are a lot of people who are currently in relationships where their relationship could blossom, it could grow, it could be great and fruitful. It never will get to that point because they're holding on to resentment about something that that person did to them earlier on inside the relationship. Something that that person said that they are just holding on to and will not get over. I'm really going to break this down in this video, and I want y'all to stick with me because it's going to be extremely beneficial. But I want to start off right here, man. This is the Webster definition of the word resentment. Resentment is a feeling of indignant displeasure or persistent ill will at something regarded as a wrong, insult, or injury. So it's a persistent ill will at something regarded as a wrong, insult, or injury. This is something that persistently you are feeling towards something or someone because you feel that they've wronged you, insulted you, or injured you in some kind of way. And I want to give you a quick real life example of resentment. And this doesn't have to do with relationships, but just stick with me here and you'll see where I'm going. Now, I've worked at the same job for many years now. And it's one of those jobs to where people first get onto it, they're so blessed. They putting up all the posts on social media. They feel like, oh, I'm so grateful to have this job. But I've been there so long to where I've seen people come in and they're so happy to have this job at the beginning. And maybe some of y'all can relate. So happy to have this job. And then something on the job goes wrong. Or maybe that job lets you go. And then when they leave, they say, man, F that job. I can't stand, I'll never work for them again. Horrible company. They didn't feel that way when they came into it. But because something went wrong or because that job let them go, now they have a resentment towards that job altogether. And it makes it hard for you to move on when you're holding on to that resentment. There are so many people I know who have started to talk this way after they left. And then those same people, if given the opportunity, they come back. But see, that's just a real life example of a job. And I wanted to say that because we tend to think the same way about our relationships. Everything's fine until there's a wrong done. Everything's fine until someone insults you in some way, shape, or form. Everything's fine until you're injured in some way. Now, whether that person intentionally meant to do it or they accidentally did it, it was an infraction and it made you feel some kind of way. And instead of you taking that moment and, letting it be that moment and moving forward into the relationship, you hold on to it and it starts to become resentment. There's so many different avenues of life where I've seen people have resentment. And my personal take on resentment is that people resent what they cannot or they perceive that they cannot obtain. Okay, so there's two different types of people in this world, right? There's people who look at others that have things that they want and they're happy for that person because they personally feel like they can have the same things that that person has or better if they wanted to. There's people that when they see you get money, they cheer you on because they also have a prosperous type of mentality to where they can get money. And then you got the other side of it to where it's people, when they see you with money or something, they resent you for having it because they feel like they can't get there. They feel like no matter how hard they try, how hard they work, they'll never be able to get to that level. They feel like life has wronged them. Like life has insulted them. Like life has injured them time and time again, and that they just can't get there. There's some people that when they see you riding in a nice car, they'll clap and cheer for you. They'll say, hey, man, I love that car. It's a nice car. They'll compliment you. But then on the other hand, you have people that see you and they'll turn up their face in disgust. Say, like, why do you got that car? You don't deserve it. You don't work nearly as hard as I do. This, and that. And you feel like that person's success means a failure in your life. That person's success injures your self-esteem, your confidence. You feel like that person driving in that nice car is an insult to you and your mediocre car. Instead of looking at it as motivation that one day you can get there. In the same way that we look at items out here in this world, it's the same way that people are starting to look at love. People are starting to look at love with resentment. A lot of people, they have convinced themselves that they cannot obtain love because they never received it in the way that they have given it earlier on in life. There's some people that resent love from the start because their mother or their father did not give them the love that they thought that they deserved. So now when they go out into the world and they create these relationships with the opposite sex, they shy away from love. They don't know what love is, that they resent it. They resent it. Some people you'll come across, man, if you are a loving, caring person watching this video, you can all attest to this. You have came across some person in your life that did not value your love when you tried to give it to them. And instead of you just falling off that horse, getting up, dusting yourself off, you decide to give up. You decided to give up on it altogether and just say, you know what, men are like this, women are like this. I'm just not going to get it. There's no good men out here. There's no good women out here. So you start to resent love because you look back on it with the sight of, this is something that has injured me. This is something that has harmed me before in the past. And you're reluctant to get it. And you start to tell yourself over and over again, I want this, but you do nothing to actually move towards it. There are people that resent love to the point of, you can know somebody who's been married together for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And instead of you looking at that love and saying, I want my relationships to be like that person's relationship, you'll look at their relationship under a microscope and start to pick it apart and pick it apart and pick it apart and say, well, she's not really happy. He's not really happy. No, these people know how to stick with it. They know how to stay. I'm pretty sure that at some point they've insulted each other. At some point they've injured each other's self-esteem, their egos, pride. At some point, they've wronged each other in some way, shape, or form. But they got past it. They didn't hold on to that resentment. And because they were able to move past it, that love was able to persist on. The earliest case that I personally know of resentment comes from the Bible. Now, I'm not here to tell you what to believe and what not to believe and all this. I'm just here to plant that seed that can spark the thought within you to be able to change the world. Be able to change at least the people watching this video, and little by little, even if you don't necessarily agree with everything that I'm saying, you can internalize what I'm saying. It can be something in the back of your mind to where even if you don't understand it now, years later, it might click with you. Like I said, as far as the religious aspect of it, I'm not here to tell you what to believe in, but I am going to share this with you here. The earliest example that I was able to find of resentment was in the Bible, and it's in Genesis chapter 4, the story of Cain and Abel, where Cain and Abel came to the Lord with their sacrifices. Both of them had a sacrifice. Abel had a sacrifice, and the Lord looked on it favorably. He looked on it, and he loved Abel's sacrifice, but on Cain's, he did not look on it with favor. So Cain instantly goes into anger. He instantly puts his face down. And I'm just going to share a quick excerpt here, and I'm going to bring this all together, but I want y'all to stick with me. So, the Lord looked on favor with Abel and his offering. But on Cain and his offering, he did not look with favor. So Cain was very angry. His face was downcast. Then the Lord said to Cain, "Why are you angry? Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door and it desires to have you, but you must master it." You must master it. Something I want to pull away from that here real quickly before I wrap up this video. God asked him an important question. If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? So many people give up on love because they tried one time. And men, we're especially guilty of this. I know women to be a lot more forgiving and to keep on trying and trying and trying and trying until they just burnt out and can't try no more. But men, I want to focus in on us for just a moment here. Me being a man, I know this from experience. I know this from the guys that I talk to. I know this just from being a fella. Is that we can get burnt out. We can get burnt out on love very early. We can get burnt one time in a relationship. We can put our heart out there to one girl back when we were 16, 17 years old. Not even a full adult man yet. And because this one girl burnt you, now you don't want to give women a fair chance later on in life. But God asked Cain, just like he asked Cain, I'm going to ask you, if you do what's right, will you not be accepted? If you do what's right, eventually you're going to be accepted. If you keep on putting the right love out there into the world and stop having this resentment for love, you're going to be accepted. You're going to find someone who is going to return that love, who's going to appreciate that love, and who you can love and have this long-lasting relationship with. You can do it. You can do it if you decide, I'm going to keep on doing what's right, even though things did not work out in this situation, it can more than happen for me inside of the next situation. So you have to keep on trying. What I see a lot in today's world, back to that video I watched earlier on today, and those comments that was very disturbing. A lot of people just have resentment. A lot of people are just walking around. I've been burnt before. I'm not going to try again. That's like going and applying for a job. You know how many jobs I've applied for in life? How many chances I've tried to take in life and it just didn't work out? That's like me making a YouTube video and one doesn't go well, so I just stop making them all together. When you apply for a job, and just because you don't get the job, just because you don't get the opportunity, it doesn't mean that you just stop trying and you just sit on your hands and wallow around in your own pain and that you have resentment for these situations. Maybe that situation just wasn't meant for you. Maybe God saw something in that situation that was not going to play out in your favor, and he saved you from that situation. I wanted to share this video because I'm so sick of this headbutting of the men and women. If you are holding resentment in your heart, let it go. Let it go. The last line of that scripture I just now read, If you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must master it. You must master it. That resentment that you're holding in your heart, you must master it. Don't let it control you. You control it. You tell it when it's enough is enough and move forward, man. But we got to stop picking and fighting with each other. I just wanted to share this video here. Hopefully it impacts your day, your life in a positive way. You like anything about the video, anything at all, take a moment, go down below, like the video. Leave me some comments. Let me know what you think as well. I'm curious. I love having the conversations with you. No, I'm not able to respond to each and every comment because honestly, there are a lot of comments that pop up on old videos I try to get back to. On the new videos, I can get to those a bit sooner, but I try to acknowledge as much as I can. I love having these conversations. It's creating an environment where we can all grow together. We can build our character. We can build ourselves up spiritually, physically, mentally. Man, I just love putting out these videos and being able to have this impact that I'm able to have through this channel, man. I love y'all. I truly do. Like I said, if you like the video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I want to get more people in our tribe, man, more voices to be heard. There are so many people who have reached out to me and said, Paul, thank you for putting out this video. I truly appreciate it. You've inspired me to do A, B, C, and D. And I just love seeing these stories, man. I love seeing people grow. I love knowing that there is an impact being made and people's lives are changing in a positive way, man. 502 King Paul, I love y'all. Y'all stay blessed till next time. I'm out.